the current party is ruling good. If the current party is like a lot of dissatisfied people out there, then my alternative hypothesis comes into play, saying that the party is not going to do good. So by which I can try to forecast they'll be losing the elections. This is how an party will try to. There is any party or any that is in the sense of Prashant Kishore. What he does is like he tries to build an hypothesis. Based on this hypothesis, he'll say that this time Modi is going to win. The next time, 2 years, what the Congress team is going to fail. How that hypothesis comes into play by trying to do and try to build some hypothesis and how many votes he is getting on it. Based on this hypothesis, we'll try to build an idea. Then they do a sampling of it. Sampling in the sense they'll ask some 5,000 or 10,000 people. Then they try, okay, from this, they try to find an inference. From this inferences, whether it's a null hypothesis or is an alternative hypothesis. I'll just try to explain you step by step. Okay. So hypothesis is a statistical method used to make decisions or inferences based on the sample data. Here, like what Prashant Kishore does is like he tries to question some 5,000 people across in different states in Tamil Nadu. From this, he tries to build, okay, whether they are supporting to DMK or not, because he works for DMK, right? For just for the sake of example, I'm trying to tell it, nothing personal. Okay, so the null hypothesis like DMK is going to win the election. Alternative hypothesis like DMK is like be losing the election. Instead of DMK losing the election, we can rather say that towards the other party. Guys, I want it to be little interactive.
ADMK.
ADMK or can't it be BJP? That's an issue, right? So in this, what you have to do, if there's a caveat, that's what I'm trying to ask you. What happens is like, if I want to, I cannot say that it's AIDMK because there are too many parties are there. Why can't it be NMK or Vijay's fan club can also explore? So what I have to do is like, I have to build an hypothesis. It's like DMK or non-DMK. That's it. I cannot say as AIDMK because there are too many parties are there. So similarly, in a data set, if I am not knowing, like actually who's going to win the, that is the, like any hypothesis where I cannot define, this is a solution. I have to create one anti thing, but you cannot try to say you are fixating to one value. You got that point? You got my point? See,
Yeah, got it.
There's nothing called a Boolean function, either this or that, apparently. What happens is like either this or an alternative DMK, or it won't be a non-DMK party. That's how you have to say it. Okay, because there are many chances like NMK, like Nam Patali Makkal Kachi can come or Nam Tamil can come. Just for your example, since everyone knows politics, Tamil Nadu politics, I'm trying to say this. Or Congress can come. So never define if it is DMK, it is the other party is there. So always try to build an hypothesis with only one value, not too many values. If it is, I want who will be the next 3M, it is like DMK or it will be a non-DMK party. That's how you have to build an hypothesis. Similarly, here, what you have to do is like, you have to build null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis in the sense, who are the other fellows? You have to say here for our discussion, it's like a non-DMK party is going to build win the election. So what is it? So by this, what I'm trying to do is like H naught. So for our mathematical thing, like how we write an exam paper, like initially you say that null hypothesis is called H naught or null value H null. So that is in the sense like you are trying to build it. So how many districts they will be winning? Whether they will be trying to win some out of 250 constituencies, they'll be winning more than 125 what 130 districts they'll be trying to win it. That's how we are trying to fix, or constituencies they are going to win. Other alternative hypothesis, like they will be losing they won't be having, instead of winning. Okay, now I'm trying to come to one conclusion. See, now I'm trying to say they are not winning the party, but how I have to define it numerically, right? You got my point? I have to define it numerically. What I'll try to say, instead of winning the party, I'll rather say how many constituencies I have to win. For mathematically, I'm telling you, for 250 constituencies, I have to take more than 125. That means I have to say 126 constituencies these guys have to win. You got my point? I'm slowly building the hypothesis. Guys, any response? Ajay,
Yeah, got it.
Aditya, you're always smiling like you want to
Yes,
share
sir.
some idea, like statistics guy. Ashwat,
Yeah,
good, right?
understood.
So, okay, Anurag has switched off the video.
Can you just repeat it once again?
Yeah, yeah, sure. See, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to build up an hypothesis. So in this, initially I'm trying to say who will be winning the elections, okay, in Tamil Nadu next time. Okay, that is who will be the next CM. Okay, that is the question what I'm trying to build. So apparently, what I need to do is like for finding there are 250 constituencies in Tamil Nadu. Okay, that is the problem statement we know. That is from the question. From the question, I am able to find like 250 constituencies are there. So if I'm asking who will be the next CM, that means a party that is having 125, more than 125 MLAs will become the CM naturally, right? You got my point? So
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to do is like, instead of telling which party will win it, I'm trying to come to a numerical, like how many constituencies I'm trying to build. So I'm trying to tell like more than 125, the DMK will be winning 126 constituencies, so that they'll have the CM candidate. If not, so see, I was asking who will be the next thing. What one of the candidate told me is like it will be AIDMK. So in a hypothesis, you should either say how to build an hypothesis, like you can have it only one variable, either prove it or disprove it. We cannot say that DMK is winning. It is AIDMK is going to win the next time. It will happen eventually, but in an hypothesis, in a mathematical way, how to prove it? Okay. Uh, Try to take one sample. I'll try to test a sample. If that is the null hypothesis, if this is not satisfied, I'll try to say that since it's not satisfied, I'll give weightage to the alternative hypothesis. Like a non-DMK party will win the election. I won't say it will be BJP or AIDMK. It can be anything. Okay, but it will once their DMK and allies are getting less than 125 MLAs, apparently they can't have a CM candidate from their side. Understood? As simple as that. So any hypothesis building you want to do, first and foremost is like understand the problem statement. Okay, and understand the underlying factors that influence the problem statement. So after which, once you know the problem statement, try to figure what is the number I have to match. Here it is like 250 constituencies are there in Tamil Nadu. For that, how much I should for winning candidate means it has to be 126 candidates has to be there in the ruling side. Naturally, right? More than half. So 126. So my hypothesis building here, I have to do is which party is having 126 MLAs, then he is declared winner. So that's how I have to frame the question. Got it. Lakshmi, you got my. So
Yes. Yes. Understood.
so similarly, so what I need to do for this, I have to do a sampling of it. how I do is like I get data from, as Prashant Kishore does it, he'll send a lot of that is statisticians across the different districts, states, towns, panchayat, and ask like the feedback of each and every people there. What is your problem? He won't directly put the question in the sense whether you are satisfied or not. He'll ask, but he won't directly ask who's winning the election. So he'll ask a lot of. He'll have a questionnaire. So he'll ask whether this program has made you satisfied, whether this program made you happy. From this, he'll come to a conclusion. From this, if they are trying to say some 60 to 70% of the questioners, they are satisfied with the ruling party, then he will consider this candidate is going to, that is, this person is going to vote for what? DMK. If not, he'll try to, who's the, what is the current issue? That's how back end, even like all this Prashant Kishore or any other political analyst is trying to work at the back end. They won't directly ask who's going to win. Okay, leave about this money thing that he'll tell the politicians to give where and all this, that's an issue. He'll ask the politicians to pump in money. That is a different ball game. But I'm trying to say how these guys do analytics at the back end. From this, because he hires a lot of statisticians across India from all the premier institutes, and their job is to analyze from this data point by point to build an hypothesis. From this hypothesis, he'll say that whether the party is going to rule or whether the party is going to default, and what are the issues in each and everything. Through which all these reports goes to the ruling party or the party who's funding his research, and they'll try to take decisions based on his analysis. You got it? I'm trying to give you a live example how things are working with hypothesis testing also.
Yes, sir.
Got it? So here I'm trying to build an null hypothesis saying that he will win the election or not. Then we call it as the type 1 error. And the alternative hypothesis is like, I cannot say like it will be AIDMK, rather I'll say DMK won't be winning the election. You got my point. Like this, I have already explained a couple of minutes before. Either win or lose by the same thing. I cannot have some other value. So similarly, in a hypothesis building, you have to have one value or you have to disprove it. Got it? You are able to see my screen, right? If I'm
Yes,
swapping
sir.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the significance value. This is the important measure. You have seen the quadrant, right? Type 1 error, type 2 error. You have already, guys, you have studied those quadrants. Guys, start. Ashwath. You're feeling like I was sleeping quietly and why is he disturbing? Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, type 1 error, type 2 error.
I actually don't remember the concept. I just need to revise it.
Okay, leave it. Like there are 4 quadrants. Okay. 1 minute. No. 1 minute. I'll just I'll just show you the screen. Guys, you are able to see my screen?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. See, this is like a 4 quadrant. Anything what we need to do is there's always the cash cows. You already like basic engineering or statistics or anywhere. Like you are trying to say whether you are accepting thing or rejecting thing or like cash cow, like all those things we are trying to do. This is generally cash cow. So here in statistics, what we try to do is like same thing. I'm trying to do whether I'm rejecting null or accepting the null. That means accepting the null means our conclusion is correct, right?
Yes.
Okay. And if not, and if I'm rejecting the null, then it is called type 1 error. Similarly, if null hypothesis is false, in the sense like H naught is false, okay? And but the null value is correct. That means it's called the type 2 error. You are able to see this?
Okay. Yes,
So
sir.
this plays an important role. Any question or any quiz. So generally, or wherever you go. So whether they'll ask you whether your null hypothesis is true and you accept it, then it's called a correct conclusion. Similarly, if null hypothesis is true, but apparently you reject the null, then it's called the type 1 error. You got it? Guys, try to remember this
Yes, sir.
quadrant. This is a very
Yeah.
important thing. Wherever you go, they'll ask you whether your hypothesis is like type 1 error or a type 2 error. Guys, you have any doubt, please let me know so that I can explain once. Hello?
Yes, sir.
No, guys, you want me to explain or like, what is it?
Sir, can you explain that again?
Sorry?
Can you explain it again, please?
Yeah, sure. See, I was trying to say this null hypothesis, right? Okay. You are able to see my screen? Ajay?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
See, what I'm trying to do is like I'm trying to build a null hypothesis, right? This one too. You're able to see my screen. I'm highlighting one thing. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yes, statement has no difference. Like you are able to see my screen because I'm trying to swap my screens. That's the reason why I'm asking you. Ajay,
Yes, sir. I can say it.
yeah. See, what I'm trying to do is like for a null hypothesis, whether a party is going to win the election or the party is losing the election. Instead of losing, I'm trying to say that a party that is having more than one to let the assembly has 250 MLAs. In this, more than 126 MLAs are there with one party, then they are concluded as winners. So for a null hypothesis, what I'm trying to do is I'll be saying like DMK will be having winning 126 constituencies. An alternative hypothesis is saying that I'll be saying like they won't be having 126 constituencies. They won't be able to win. This is what I'm trying to fix it. So the level of significance is like whether I want to like find all the like in all the constituencies how many votes they are going to win. So I'm trying to do that. For this, what I'm trying to do is I'm looking at this chart. So if the null hypothesis, if you are accepting the null hypothesis, it means in that data what you are trying to do as sampling. If it is getting accepted, okay, and null is like the DMK is having 126 constituencies. That means you are accepting the null, then it's correct conclusion. That means you are winning the election. Okay, but at the same time, you are rejecting the null. In the sense, they are not winning 126 what, constituencies. But statistically, they get major vote share. That means they'll get into type 1 error. So reject a true null hypothesis. That's how we try to say it. I'll try to give you an example, okay, going forward. But try to remember this 4 quadrant wherever they ask you, just if they say a null hypothesis is false, but you accept a null, it's called type 2 error. Got it? Type 1 error or type 2 error, you just try to remember this one. Okay, Ajay? As of now, you hold it for some time. You just mark this. You just have remember these two values. Okay?
Okay, sir.
You just have this quadrant. Remember this quadrant or take a snapshot of this quadrant. Then while I'm comparing, you will be able to understand. Everyone can take a screenshot of it. So, hello, guys. You are able to, Ajay, you are able to get it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So going back to the, see, I'm trying to basically explain the, okay, this is the process. Then with an example, you will be able to understand it better. So the next thing is like the significance, the probability of rejecting it. Okay, when it's actually true, that is called a type 1 error. Okay, and similarly, test statistics. See, I cannot ask each and every in an election, I cannot ask each and every person, right, whom you are going to vote. That is the end of the day, that is an election. So I cannot ask each and every person whom you are going to vote. So I'll be trying to do a sampling of it. So similarly, a test statistics, here I'm trying to take a sample of the data and I'm going to test whether those guys are winning the election based on the sample. So this can be done with statistics called the T statistics or Z statistics or chi-squares test. Hope you guys are able to remember the T square chi-square test and all. Ashwath.
So I just need to check with the formulas on it.
No. I'll be anyway explaining. I'm just
And with the,
telling engineering
yeah,
wise, yeah, initially in the first few days, you would have studied T square test, chi-square test. So I'll be explaining all those things, but eventually you have to recall all those values. Okay. And then probability of test, like once, like p value is one thing. There is the probability in which, like whether our hypothesis is true or not. You are trying to come to a conclusion. So critical value. Okay. Whether here what I'm trying to say in this election, a guy who's winning 126 constituencies is going to be the winner, right? In a state election. So that is the critical value you have to do for a null hypothesis, whether to reject or not. You have to know what is the value at which it is going to break even, or this hypothesis is going to become false. So our value has to, a party is getting more than 126 MLAs will be winning this. So here for critical value, you have to apparently have 126. Hope you got the point. Okay. And next is the sequence of steps. How to do this hypothesis, like first state the hypothesis, what is null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, then choose the significance value, then appropriately try to what test statistics you have to do, whether it's like T square test or chi-square or F test. And based on this, we are trying to formulate the decision rules, then try to work on the statistics. In the sense of statistics, in the sense you are trying to, from the data, you collect all the data from all the districts. What is their feedback? Like whether they are positive with the ruling party or they are against the ruling party by a lot of questionnaires. Then you try to find, like, for this question, how people have reacted, whether they are satisfied or not. If they are not satisfied, they'll be trying to give some other options. If they are satisfied, they'll be trying to give. From all these questionnaires, he'll come to a conclusion. He'll try to forecast whether he has won or not. Then drawing the conclusion. Okay, and compare the statistics and compare the significance value And what? If the test statistics is getting rejected, the null hypothesis, I told you, no, is it the type 1 error or type 2 error? And for this, okay, and if see for few examples, you are able to see mostly what are the different tests I'm trying to say is like the z-squared test when the sample size is greater than 30. Okay, then where I'm going to use t-squared test is like when the sample size is lesser than 30. Okay, and chi-square test is like categorically the data how much you are observed is due to change. And then ANOVA, like analysis of variance that you can do when you want to have two or more groups. Like here you are saying like DMK is not winning. Then what are the other things? So I can say it's a BJP or like you can combine all other parties, group them all other parties, and you say that it won't be DMK, but it will be some other team. That's how you are trying to when you want. So like you try to combine all the parties, then you will try to say if these two parties join, then DMK will lose. If the two parties are not going to join, okay, the sense like for a better example, if BJP and AIDMK joins, all the votes will be on Nam Tamil joins into one single party. There's a huge probability DMK can lose. Like this, where we can use this like for ANOVA test. Since you are trying to find the mean of all those, so you are trying to combine, and you are in that case you will be trying to do ANOVA test. Okay. So I'm again in t-square test. There is one sampling test is there, two sampling test is there, pair test is there. In chi-square, it's like goodness of fit. Then goodness and test of independence is there. I'll be trying to give you that in ANOVA, there's one-way ANOVA is there, two-way ANOVA is there. Okay, guys, I'm trying to run into this hypothesis testing little faster. I know it. While I'm trying to take one data sample in the next class, what I'll try to do is like I'll try to take one Excel. I'll upload an Excel parallelly. You guys, by using an Excel itself, I'll try to show you how to do this hypothesis testing by the metrics itself so that you have a better idea. Currently, what I'm trying to do is like I'm just trying to teach you the theory of it. Theory itself, it requires 2 or 3 classes, but I'm trying to, for the same time and want to teach you, I'm trying to like running a little faster. Currently, you are able to get what I'm trying to say, right? Anurag, Lakshmi.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Sir, I have a
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah.
Can you
Tell me.
explain the T static again? The P test T static.
Yeah. See, point is like if the sample size is more than 30. Okay. The sense like okay, then in an class, how many students are going will be in the sense like who will be the topper? Okay, the class of 35 or 30 students, who will be the topper? Then I can use an z-square test. Like these are metrics, man. Basically, what happens is like in statistics, there are 2 or 3 variables. So I can for there is a because of the limitation of like each and every test. Okay, I was on Saturday I came to office, right? I was asking you guys to write all the algorithms, what and all you know, right? Then I was asking you to write the advantages, disadvantages, and what is the limitation of each and every algorithm, right? Hope you are able
Yes.
to remember. Similarly, in this, like the z-square test can be done when the value is more than 30. Keep that in mind as of now. I'll tell you why while I'm trying to give you an example. Okay. As of now, for z-square test, it is once the sample set is more than 30, you have to use a z-test. Okay, in the sense like for hypothesis testing, there are multiple statistics, okay, methods through which I am going to build the hypothesis. And whether I want to approve it or disapprove it based on this test, I'll be trying to do this. Then I'll get one null hypothesis value. Then I'll try to disprove. Then I'll say the alternative hypothesis has won or null hypothesis has won. If null hypothesis has won, then our conclusion is correct. I showed you, right? Here, I showed in the last deck. If our null hypothesis is true and you accept the null value, then our conclusion is correct. Okay, if null hypothesis is false and we also reject the null, then also our conclusion, that is alternative hypothesis, correct. If not, type 1 error means when null hypothesis is false, but we accept the null, then it's called the type 2 error, or type 1 error is the other way around. So how to do this conclusion, that is statistical analysis, is like we use this z-squared test or t-squared test. So currently, for your understanding, just keep in mind when the sample size is more than 30, use the z-squared test. If not, use the t-squared test. Okay, and if you the chi-square test is once you observe is going to change, then you will use a chi-square test. And ANOVA is like when you have too many groups, then like in the sense like I have to prove, like I was telling an example, right? The party has to win 126 constituencies to have the ruling party, to have the title of a ruling party. If not, what I need to do is like, who are the other parties? What is like, how many people have accepted them as they have to win the election? So I'll try to put, then I'll try to combine this. Like, what is the mean average of the constituencies? This non-DMK parties like BJP, how many they'll be winning, or the AIDMK is going to win. Then what I'm trying to do is like, if I combine all those things, like if they are separate, then none of them will be winners. If I try to combine, what will be the influence of them against DMK? That I'll be doing. If I think in the sense of case of Prashant Kishore, how he is deciding the election, what he does is like, he'll speak with the ruling party, that is whoever party he's sponsoring him. Don't like based on the reports what we got, we have done an analysis. The current that is the people are not happy with you. But if you make them the other two parties join, okay, the sense they try to find the average mean of all those guys, what is the how many people are want this BJP to win or ADMK to win. So best way is like ensure that if they both of them they join, then it will be the people are against you. So the best way is like try to divert them. Never like in the sense of an ANOVA test. If they're trying to find the mean of two groups and they are very successful, what they try to do is like they'll be easily winning the election. So what they do is like they speak with the AIDMK parties, they try to lure them. They'll say they'll give money to the party men of AIDMK, say that speak against BJP. So this is the way all this Prashant Kishore does is like he does a statistical analysis. If they try to combine two groups, what will affect the ruling party? And this is the way he tries to predict the elections. Similarly, you are trying to win any, see, there's any problem. That is, if you want to be very successful, either you have to be there or he has to be there. So if two of your opponents join, then you'll go for a toss. You understood? So I will find the mean of both opponents, whether they have an upper edge. So if they are separate, then we have an upper edge. So that's the way we will be trying to build an hypothesis. You got my point? Since you guys are very familiar with politics, I'm trying, since Anurag is also a UPSC guy, I'm just trying to give him an example of an political scenario. So everyone will be able to correlate it with our election. You got my point?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Where the example is making you clear, or is it confusing?
Yes.
Lakshmi?
It's clear, it's clear.
Yeah. So currently, you just keep in mind like n means lesser than 30, t means is sorry, n means sample is more than 30 means z square test, and t square test is lesser than 30 as of now. And also keep the one thing is like ANOVA of variance, because for sample of more lot of data are there. I want to do an analysis, then I'll go for ANOVA. Okay. And again, in chi-square test, there is goodness of it, like whether it's fitting within the curve. What you do is like in the bell curve, you try to put whether it's getting fitted or not. So that is called the goodness of fit, like if it's fitting. So you also take then for t-square test, whether it's like one sample data or two sample data you have to do. So you will try to take different samples. So you generally go to an election. What they say is like the first time they'll take a sample set 6 months before. Then after, if you have just observed this election time and all, 6 months before they'll try to say this party is going to win. Then after before the election, 1 month before, they'll again do another test, right? If you have just observed, currently the what is the mindset of people, they'll again find. So that is what you have to do is like one sample test or two sample test, all those things are done. Then one way ANOVA, two-way ANOVA. I'll try to give you an example in an Excel sheet in the next class so that you guys are very clear of it. Okay, and see, currently I'm trying to take an example whether the see, you are trying to have an EV car. Okay, just for the example, some example scenario, I'm just trying to for another 15 minutes, I'll ensure that I'm trying to cover one example at least. Currently, I'm having an EV car. So what I'm to do is like whether that EV car battery is going to last longer than the older previous batteries. Okay, you got my problem? Like, see, I am trying to like I'm an Excite battery guy. Like that's a new competitor is coming called Amar Raja. Okay, so Amar Raja is going to give that introduce the battery. So what I'm trying to say, hey guys, Excite battery is giving a shelf life of 4 years only. But my battery, Amar Raja battery, is going to give me a shelf life of more than 6 years. So that's the then I'll be trying to say 2 years save. Money is like 5,000 rupees save. Like if you are going to replace the battery every 4 years, then in another 8 years, after 8 years, you'll be see there'll be a lot of cost is involved, right? So that's how the statistician, they call the statistician here. Here, Ashwath is going to say that. See, he has to say that my product is best. How he is going to build it? So he's trying to say that our batteries are going to do better. So for that, what he asks is like he'll ask the Amaraja guy, hey, try to get the mean life of the new batteries when compared to the old batteries. In the sense, he'll ask the life of all the new batteries that the Amaraja has sold all these years and ask him to get what is the mean life when the batteries are worn out. So through which he'll say that yeah, our batteries are best. That is what he's going to do. So the mean life of the new battery is equal to the old battery. That is the null hypothesis. And the mean life of new battery is greater than the older battery. That is the alternative hypothesis. Okay. And the level of significance, the sense I'm trying to fix the level of significance, there is alpha is 0.05. In the sense, if it is more than uh, like more than like the deviation is like 0.05. Okay. Then the appropriate test, assume is normally whether it's normally distributed or not. So here you are trying to say one thing. This Z square test or T square test, whether it is normally distributed or like not normally distributed is also taken into consideration. I'll just show you. So so whether it's normally distributed, what I try to do is like I'll ensure that I'll put all the values in the graph and I'll check whether it's normally distributed. If normally distributed, then I try to take t-squared test. Okay. Okay, guys, I'll just tell you. Just for the current time being, you accept this. Okay, these guys, like what I'm rather say, it's like for the current situation, you will say that if this is like normally distributed, take the t-squared test. If not, z-squared test. Keep that. And also, if the sample value is greater than 30, you try to take z-squared test. If not, t-squared test. Okay. And with this, what I'm trying to do is like, I have all the values. Then you have the x mean. I have asked like, what is the life of all the values, right? Hello. Guys.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Like I know the mean of all the values. What I try to do is like take the average of all the lifetime of all the new batteries car lifetime, then minus each and every value divided by the formula. Yes, by the sample size divided by the number of values. Okay. This is what you have to do. And this gives you a t value. Okay. From the t distribution table, for alpha value is like not 0.05, and for a one tail test I have to find what is the p value. Actually there's a chart in it. Okay, this is a basic stuff. Don't get bugged off with this. In the excel sheet it is for the once if you are trying to write an exam, these are the sequence of steps you have to do. But for an sample in an excel, you just cut copy, you just choose the columns. It itself will give you what is the t value, p value, everything. I'll just show you in the next class how to do that. But for the sake of like for explaining purpose, I'm just telling you step by step. Don't worry. Then if the p value is corresponding p value, you just find it. If then if it is more than this, p value is greater than 0.05, then you reject the null hypothesis. If not, accept the hypothesis. So similarly, there is another example for whether to accept a drug or not for lowering a blood pressure. I have given you some 3 examples. Okay. In fact, 4 examples I have given. Like what I'll do is like the following class. Okay. The coming classes, like in the next class, when is it? It is on Wednesday, right? I'll just try to give you a session how to do it in Excel. I'll try to repeat it, but understand this null hypothesis, how to work it, so that like with an example, if I show with the data, we'll be able to get it. Just for the sake of explanation, I have just explained you what is a null hypothesis, what is an alternative hypothesis. I'm just trying to put a setting the basement of it. Guys, you are able to get it. Like then what is a p value? What is the level of significance? Then like what when I have to do a chi-square test, where I have to do a t-square test, each and everything I'll just show you with an example in Excel. Meanwhile, I ask you, I request you to kindly check the deck. I have already like it's on the like in our statistics dash, that is the deck. It's already been shared in your classroom thing. Just click it, have a look of it. The next class, what I'll try to do is like, if I start giving an example, time is like I have to leave you by 6:30. So that's the reason why I don't want to give you another example. And so that's the reason why I'm cut shorting this activity. So what I'll do is like in the next class with an example, I'll show you a data so that with the same data, everyone downloads the data package, try to work on it and start building an hypothesis like null hypothesis and chi-square hypothesis. Aditya, you have any issues? You raised your hand.
Yes, sir. Actually, which test to use if the sample of data is not given?
See, anyway, you will get a sample, right? Sample is not given, how you can do a testing.
But in the previous test, it was empty.
No,
Previous
that's,
slide.
see, I was telling whether the sample has to be, I'm giving you an, see, if you just see here. If the sample size is greater than 30, then I use a Z-square test. Okay, T-square test is like lesser than 30. I have never said without a sample. I just gave you an example. Wait, in the previous example, what I was trying to see, like a battery thing, what I gave you, I told like there's a mean value. I haven't explained the full problem. Just for the sake of running of this class, like because of 6:30, I have to wind off the class. That is the instruction given by Stevens to me today. So for the sake of the time constraint, I'm just doing. I'll give you a data, sample data of it. There I'll ask you like how to do an hypothesis testing. I'll show you with a real-time example. You yourself, in an example, you have installed the solver, right? Like Excel solver.
Yes, sir.
So from this, the same Excel itself, you'll try to populate it. Then you start building the hypothesis. Because hypothesis testing is very, very important in any field of work. Statisticians' first work is hypothesis building. Then you have to either approve it or disapprove it. Even in a legal system, if you want to be a very good legal advisor, he'll build the hypothesis. Then he'll try to disprove it. I'm saying this, since I'm disproving this hypothesis, my initial conclusion is correct. That's how he is winning the elections. A very successful lawyer does it. Any argument you have to do, I have to build an hypothesis, break it, or approve it. Since I don't know how to approve it, I'll do the reverse. I'll try to build the reverse hypothesis, like a null hypothesis. That is a alternative hypothesis. Try to break that alternative hypothesis so that I'll have the null hypothesis. That's how you have to figure it out. That is your decision. Okay, this I'm trying to slightly
Yes, sir.
build up a platform. Not today, I'm not completing the class. I'm just trying to set the base so that tomorrow, once I'm giving you an example of a data, you guys will have a better clarity of it. Generally, hypothesis class, like even for a PhD in statistics, it takes a hell lot of time for him to explain. Within 1 hour, I'm sure, like you guys, I'm just giving you some flavor of it. It will take time. I'll ensure that I'll give you some Excel sheet. With that Excel sheets itself, you'll be able to get a fair idea of it. If you want, I can, even on a Friday, I can extend that class. Nothing to worry. Till you guys get this on brain, I want to ensure that you guys complete. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Lakshmi ma'am, you are comfortable, like,
It is fine.
so others like Ajay, Divya, Ashwat, Anurag,
Yeah.
Devika.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Like I'm just leaving well ahead of time. Like that 5 minutes in the next class, I'll try to take it extra. Okay, because I want to explain little. If I start that concept again, like with an Excel, it will take time. So that's by 6:30, I have to leave it. So I'm ensuring
Okay.
whether this time is comfortable for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Comfortable.
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
For me, it is perfect.
Okay, good. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.